Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to our Sunday Soul Sessions brought to you by the Sickle Cell Mental Health and Wellness Initiative. And tonight you are here with us for a quick guide to building a toolbox for mental wellness. We're so happy that you're here with us from whatever part of the world you're joining us from. Just for quick introductions and of the team, I'm going to start with myself. I am Dr. Marjorie DeBrois Brewer, and as always, it is a pleasure to be with you guys this evening. And I'll just go on my screen to my right. Heather, you want to go ahead?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this week. We're excited to get into a little bit about our toolbox today and some mindfulness. Thank you so much for being with us.
And Dima?
Hello, everyone. I'm Dima Hendricks, the Sickle Cell Health Coach, and I'm so glad to be here today and welcome.
Aminosi?
Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Eminosi. I'm happy to be here.
All right, and with those introductions, we're going to get right in. So we're going to start with a 5-minute mindfulness segment, some breath work, and some visualizations. Then we're going to do a quick little facial lymphatic massage. You know, we always like to give you different things and options, what you can use within your day, what you can use to heal your body and the like. And then we'll go right into our little discussion, a little round table connection, because this is what we get to do here. We get to connect and support each other. And please, yes, if you are here, let us know who you are, where you're from, put it in the chat box, and so that we can be aware of who's joining us this evening. So with that, as we always do, please find a comfortable position. I'm sitting on my bolster, as I usually do in my safe space, because it's comfortable for me. Please feel free to sit on a chair, like some of my teammates are doing. You can lay on a mat if that's more comfortable for you. Sit in a chair, prop yourself on the wall. I think the most important thing as we go into our breath work and mindfulness work is for you to feel as comfortable as you can in your own skin. So that allows you to soften and relax and focus on the breath. So maybe take 1 or 2 neck rolls, depending on what you have already done for the day and what you have carried with you to the session. Maybe some shoulder rolls going back. I want you to allow yourself, reverse those shoulder rolls to lift up whatever you're carrying and put it to the side for a few minutes. Because for the next 5 minutes, we're going to come into stillness and bring the attention inward. So with that, if you feel comfortable, I usually ask you to close your eyes. If you don't feel comfortable closing, feel free to just look down to the floor. Maybe lifting your chest a little bit, because I really want you to become aware of that breath as it moves through you. Soften in your jaw. Soften in your face. Even softening your eye sockets. It's amazing how much tension we carry and how much it builds throughout the day. And as you bring yourself to stillness and a moment of quiet, I want you to bring your awareness to your breath. The gentle inhale through the nose, the pause, and the exhale through the nose, and the pause. If for some reason you are congested or can't inhale and exhale through your nose, then I want you to inhale through your nose, pause, and then slowly exhale through your mouth. That is your other option. And as you bring more and more of your attention to the parts of your breath, I want you to feel the breath moving through you. Breathing with your stomach when you inhale, expanding in the ribs, lifting in the chest. And then as you exhale, the chest falls, the ribs fall, and the belly falls. This is our 3-part breath, also known as Durga breath. Inhale, belly rising, ribs expand, chest lifts, and exhale, chest fall, ribs fall, belly fall. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Feel that breath move, and exhale, chest, ribs, belly. When you invite yourself into stillness, there is a knowing in your body that can be recognized. Inviting in the stillness sometimes invites in the answers that we are searching for. As you take your next breath, I want you to visualize a healing light. Throughout our journeys, we have many challenges, and sometimes they show up as cracks in our fiber. But those cracks are where the light can shine through and heal. As you inhale and exhale, I want you to not only see that light, but feel the warmth that light brings you. One of our sayings as a community is that we live in the shadows with our illness. So I invite you to step out of the shadows and into the light with us. Feel that light and breath go through every part of your body that needs it. See that light get brighter and brighter with every inhalation and every exhalation. Maybe visualize it as the red light that was turned on across the world for World Sickle Cell Day. Our light unites us, just as our breath does. And on your next breath, slowly, gently begin to bring your palms to heart center, thumb knuckles to chest. Taking a moment to nod in acknowledgement of the time that you put aside for yourself today. A moment to invite in stillness, your breath, and the healing light. Let's take one more deep breath in and let it out. Surrounding with my love and sending you my light. And with that, gently open up your eyes. Maybe shake it off. See how different you feel. 5 minutes can be magical. That's one of the things we're going to talk about. It doesn't take long to just kind of reground and bring yourself, back to center. And it's such a good and amazing tool. So the other tool that I wanted to show you really quickly is we talk about lymphatic drainage and lymphatic flow. And the lymph is our sewage system. And many times, for many reasons, whatever we go through during the day, our bodies can get swollen and puffy and the like. So there are different light massages that you can do for lymphatic drainage. So today we're just going to do a simple one for the face area. So I want you to sweep your hands up your neck. All right, team, you're going to do this with me so everybody can do this. It's 15 sweeps and it's nice and light. Here we go. One, just count it in your head. You take one hand followed by the other. There you go. That was about 15. Good. And now I want you to do it along your jaw line, nice and evenly. Start from the middle, draw it back. All counts are for 15. And it's almost like, you're like caressing your body. It's a very light touch. You don't have to do it too hard, actually, because your lymph is very superficial. Next one is up the cheeks. Good. Little twos. This actually takes me maybe 3 minutes every morning. I try to do it every single morning. Because between anti-inflammatories, cells gone mad, and just life. And now you're going to go around your eyes in circles. I usually close mine when I do it. Nice and light circles all the way around the orbits. Breathe. We just practiced our breath. So keep your breath going while you count to 16. And the last one is just the forehead. So again, almost like you did the neck. Yeah, there you go, Eminosi. Sweeping motion upwards. And what we're doing is just stimulating our lymphatic flow to drain and then release. Just give that a moment. Just like you did for the breath, to kind of center. Just feel the difference that brings. And maybe during one of the sessions, we'll actually talk about lymphatic massage, because that's a very good massage, great option for warriors, and a good thing to put in your toolbox if you have the opportunity. And with that, we're going to start our presentation. So we actually have some slides to go over some of the points that we're going to talk about today. So we're going to start, if you pull up that first slide for us, the Mental Wellness Toolbox Quick Guide. And what we want to do is give you some tips. We've broken them into 5 categories of the top 5 tools we want to give you. And then the team, we're going to discuss some specific options you have in each category. So next slide, please. So in this toolbox, of what we're sharing with you between this weekend and next weekend are 5 tools. Practice mindfulness, practice self-care, cultivate gratitude, connect with others, and set boundaries. Some of these we've mentioned already in the past when we kicked off at the beginning of the year, but we're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive in each category to give you guys some simple options that you can do in practice. Some that we practice and some that we've maybe heard that others practice. And with that, I'm going to pass it to one of my teammates. Heather, I think you're taking over from here.
Good evening, everyone. So I'll be discussing a little bit about practicing mindfulness, something that I have become very closely acquainted with over the last, I would say, couple of years, but really have delved into it mostly last year, especially during at the end of COVID, when everything seemed a little frazzled. So some things about practicing mindfulness. Sharon, can we bump to the next slide? Is to start your day with a few minutes of breathing. I know that meditation and breath work are huge, right? To actually be thoughtful about yourself, where you are in space and time, and how your body's doing. It's like almost the way of using a check-in. And there are so many different ways that we can do that, right? Finding yourself a quiet corner, sitting on a bench, sitting on the stoop outside if the weather is nice. But just finding a moment. Sometimes in your car, I remember taking those on my way to work in the morning, taking a moment to just breathe, find your breath. You can also do this throughout the day, right? Mindfulness isn't something that we have to do in the morning. However, it is the best way to start our day. I know for me, I use an app called Balance. I don't know if any of you have heard of it, but it's an amazing app. And it does help me to remember. And it reminds me every morning at 8:30 that I need to practice my mindfulness. And then that kind of sets my way for the rest of the day to remember each moment. Like, am I being mindful of how I'm feeling? Or if I'm not feeling like myself, some days we have days we wake up, I think, as warriors, and we're like, I don't feel good, but we don't really know exactly what that means. I know for me, I'm like, oh, some mornings I really don't feel well, but I don't know. I can't always put my finger on exactly what's wrong. Taking a moment, stopping, being present in your moment, and taking those breaths and bringing attention to your body. A lot of times you can figure out, oh, I'm hormonal. Or, oh, that pain in my ankle is really bothering me. It's bothering me a bit more than it was yesterday. What do I need to do to make sure that we address that? And then engaging in your daily activities mindfully, right? Paying attention to your senses. Pay attention to everything, all of your senses, right? We often forget that we have so many senses. A lot of times as warriors, we often, when we kind of envelop ourselves in feel, because everything is pain or touch, but we don't think about the sense of smell, the sense of taste. There are so many other senses. So kind of really taking in all that's around you. When you're eating your breakfast, really enjoying your breakfast. How many of us eat because it's just something we need to get out of the way? Oh, I got to eat. Some of us are foodies on here, I know, because I love good food. But some of us eat because we just need to eat. So you eat in a hurry. You're not thinking about how something tastes. It reminded me of my son loves seaweed and the little seaweed squares. I love that. We eat them a lot around here. But I gave one to my mother and she about had a heart attack. My mother was like, oh my God, what is this? But it was like, take a second. What don't you like about it? And so we talked about it and had a whole conversation about why she didn't like it. And it was really funny because my son was like, well, I love them, Grams. So really pay attention. I think we often forget that mindfulness happens in so many different ways. We're oftentimes like, oh, I'm just not being mindful. Mindfulness can happen in any moment. And it doesn't have to be long. It can literally be 3 minutes, 60 seconds where you just take a second and figure out where you are in your space. I've been doing a lot of that lately. I've been a lot quieter lately. I think people have noticed that I've been a lot more quiet lately, but because I'm being a lot more mindful, because I have to give energies to other things. So when you're in a busy season and energy is going out and going out and going out, I have to be mindful about where I give energies to. So sometimes I have to bring down the rest of Heather so that way I can give energy to where it needs to be given. So some things to think about. Did anyone else have any tips and tricks? I can ask my team or the panel. Do you guys have any ideas of how are you mindful throughout your day?
I'll throw one in. I actually schedule breaks at the not the top of every hour, but throughout the day. I put them within my schedule so that I promise myself at the beginning of the day that you need to just observe 10 minutes of quiet or 10 minutes to step away. A lot of times we don't realize since we're kind of on laptops and doing a lot of work, our eyes get tired. And I have to just step back and give my eyes a moment to rest. And so I definitely schedule that. And I love what you said about the eating. Yes, we are foodies. And when I was training actually to be a yogi and to do meditation, we had to do at least one meal a day in complete silence so that the TV is off, computer is off. You're actually thanking the people who either, if you made the food, the people who grew the food. And it's become something I've kept because there's just this peace that happens. And I'm very mindful about the chewing and the digesting, and I'm just enjoying the food and not, like you said, Heather, just eating and doing 50 million other things at the same time. So I would add that to the conversation. Other team members, what do you do for mindfulness?
Come on, Dima. I know you got something in your back pocket. You cannot be quiet on this one.
I honestly, I pray. I'm not trying to be like the holy roller in the group and talk about God all the time, but I really do take a moment to thank the Creator and just thank you for giving me life. Um, yeah, and it's I find it gives me peace and balance.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I often find myself prayer, but I pray all the time about everything. I mean, I'm like, oh, Jesus, I made that light. Thank you. I mean, I feel like prayer, we don't think about those moments where we thank him and we don't even realize that we're thanking him just because of something that's, crazy. Oh, Jesus, I got the groceries on time and dinner is on the table. Praise Jesus. I thank him for everything. I don't think that there's anything wrong with being the holy roller of the group, Dima. I think, hey, you know what? God gave you a story, you tell it.
Agreed. So true. I love that. Clayton?
Anyone else? Any comments? Any comments from our audience? We have a quiet audience today. Please be sure to write your comments.
Personally, being more mindful about like nature. I am definitely not a nature girly by any means, but I have just found a greater appreciation for like the look of nature and the transition between all four seasons. And luckily, like where I am, I get all four seasons, but it's nice to just actually like sit back and just notice how the greens don't turn green anymore, and just so on and so forth. I like looking at the things that happen within nature.
Oh, it's so nice. That's lovely.
Yeah.
I think it's something that we all kind of miss some days. We get so busy that we don't see the beauty of nature, the beauty outside of our windows.
I love that. There's a tree that's outside of my window specifically that I take time to look at, and this is like my inside tree in the bottom of my house. But I think connecting with nature is so important. Feeling grounded in nature is such a mindfulness tool and act that we can all do. You can all step outside, almost put your feet in the grass. I know that you won't be doing that anytime soon, Minosi, but you know what I mean. Feet in the grass and connecting. I think if Dr. Rowley was here, she would say, oh, I'm all about that. I do call her my son's sister. So I love that nature connection.
And Sharonda wrote in the comments, in the morning, I sit and listen to music. I pick music that relaxes me. And Sharonda, I think that that's so fitting for you to pick music. I don't know, that speaks to my soul. You speak to my soul on that one. I get it. Sometimes having music going, I open my blinds and watch the sun come up. I enjoy looking at the clouds. Yeah, isn't it pretty? I love the way the light filters in my office in the mornings. It brings me so much joy. It's the first thing I do in the morning is I get up, I go make myself some tea, and I open my blinds in my office because it's just so pretty. I'm like, oh, can I have someone take the pictures right now at this time? Because they're so pretty.
So pretty. I think sometimes what we don't realize is when we do those small things, there's an immediate effect on our bodies. There's an immediate effect in our emotions, in our spirit. So either we have a calmness, we smile, even just talking and connecting here, it just puts us in a different zone that is a very nurturing zone. I'll use that word right now. And I don't think, we appreciate that enough sometimes, or just take stock of that and just pause on that that thought. But it's so powerful, so powerful.
Absolutely. Well, I thank you all for your comments. That's a little bit about, I think, how we bring back to practicing mindfulness. There's so many ways, right? And I don't think that any one way is the right way or the wrong way. I think we have to remember that just taking a moment to recognize that we are human, we are in our bodies, and maybe even the world around us will give us a new way of looking at life, of being thankful, of being grateful. Finding those very small, those micro moments sometimes of happiness and joy.
Thank you so much, Heather, for sharing that.
Moving forward, I guess we'll go into the next one, which is practicing self-care. Dr. Dish, who's taking that on?
That's supposed to be Dima. Dima, self-care. It's all I know.
Surprise!
Right? Surprise!
So practicing self-care, it's harder than we may seem. Um, and it's not just about taking bubble baths and just making like going shopping and things of that nature. We have to be very intentional about our self-care, planning me time throughout the day and activities that you can actually enjoy. Things that I like to do for self-care, like regular things like sleeping, making sure you're in bed on time is a way to regulate how you care for yourself. Um, Drinking enough water, making sure you're nourished and hydrated, and one thing that I've been doing lately is juicing for myself, making sure that I'm getting the proper nutrients, making sure I'm having the right amount of vegetables and fruit by just juicing them and enjoying the cold pressed juice. And it's been helping me like regulate my digestion, um, eating whole foods and making sure that I'm not eating anything gross or like too. I love Cheetos and I love like you know, pepperoni and fatty foods. And I think it's because warriors have a different taste palette and um, we like to munch on things because of the lack of vitamins or minerals that we have. So I make sure that I replenish that with something that's not as that's something that's healthy. So that's what I do for self care, and every once in a while, yes, I do splurge and get my nails done. Um, I'm a girly girl, pageant girl, so yeah, I like to get my makeup done and get my lashes done. And my favorite thing I do for self care is I love when my best friend does my locks, and she retwists me and washes my hair, and it's so relaxing. And we have time to kiki and while she's doing my hair, and we have time to just have fun while I'm just luxuriating in that time. So, what do you guys do for self care? What are some examples that um, you do? Like, I want to hear from you, Dr. Marjorie. What do you do for self care
Oh,
besides yoga?
um, I actually, all right, full transparency. There is a time at the beginning of the day that I allow myself a little bit of a dance party. So for 30 minutes before I log on, I will come home if I've gone outside for a power walk or done yoga or whatever. After I have my lemon water and my shake is ready, I put on whatever music my soul is asking for. It might be classical, it might be pop, it might be rap, whatever. But for 30 minutes, it is blasting. It fills my heart with joy. I think today was Pharrell and Happy and something else I put on. And I'm just so happy. And then it's like a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, turn it off, turn on the laptop and plug into work. And I just show up to my first meeting with smiles all over my face. So that's one of the things that I do for self-care.
How about you, Heather? What do you do for self care?
Oh goodness. I'm a journaler if I can,
Okay.
but I'm also an arty kind of nerd. So there's I do like puzzles and paint by numbers and weird art stuff that no one would love or care and find it very boring, but it honestly relaxes me. It's one of the most relaxing things that I do. I love it. Um, that is one of my biggest ways of self-care. I also like doing things like getting my hair done. I mean, I don't think I don't know if there's a black woman out there who don't like having their hair scrubbed by somebody else. But I do, I like, I'm a nerd. I like to like art out and just like get my art supplies and just zen for a while and not really use my brain and turn on. I don't get that as often as I like, um, just because life is so busy right now. But going for walks, I love cuddling with my dog. He is like, dogs are just pure joy. My little dog is like, to me, he's the cutest little animal in the world, and he's soft like a real life teddy bear, and that's what I call him. I'm like, come here, my real life teddy bear. I'm sure he's so sick of me giving him hugs. But I love my little dog. My little dog brings me so much joy. That is like I got him for self care. I mean, I got him so that I could like squish and love on him. So yeah, I mean, it's just those are different ways that I self care. I mean, I kind of do the same thing. I get my nails done. I like to get my hair done, but my dog and my art, that's kind of where I really am.
Oh my God, I love my dog too. I'm the same way, my dog. So yeah, you mentioned something too, Heather, about kind of letting your brain relax and kind of vegging out, like not having to think. I wanted to highlight that because we are not only, Dr. Marjorie said earlier that we're in front of the computer all day and our eyes tend to get, they tend to hurt or to, get blurry. But I feel like after like an hour on the computer of doing intense work, my
Yeah.
brain turns to mush and I have to do something with my hands or do something because I use my brain all day as
Hmm.
for work. And so I need to do something with my hands to kind of counteract all of the things I was doing with my brain. Just for like 15 minutes or so. Like take like 20-minute interval here or 15-minute interval here. Because if I don't do that, I space out and I can feel myself begin to have anxiety. So it's
Right.
very important to take time out throughout the day.
Agreed. And I
Yeah.
think, you know what, Dima? I think a lot of times I don't think people realize how much or how draining being on a laptop, just like being at work, but working through a laptop can be on the body sometimes. And we just kind of push through, but it is actually taking energy from us. And
Mhm.
until you start stepping away, because you think it's something else that's doing it, but it's actually how your body is processing the images on the laptop and your brain working and trying to do so many things because we're usually multitasking. It's not until you start stepping away that you realize, oh, the drainer was actually being connected for too long. And now that I've disconnected and rebooted, I can feel so much better. So I think that's a big lesson that a lot of people are figuring out. But the fact that you even said that you take the time to do something else, to use the other senses, as we were saying earlier, and to give your brain a little break, it makes such a difference because that requires a lot of work on our part to do.
I didn't
Clayton,
hear.
what's the male perspective? I'm curious as to what Clayton's perspective is because he's a man, so he comes from a different, headspace than we do.
For me, for self care, if it's a weekday, I'm probably spending 30 minutes at Chick-fil-A with a large sweet tea and my thoughts.
Mm.
Maybe a earpiece so I could listen to my crime podcast for about 30 minutes, maybe an hour. If it's a weekend, then I'm probably gonna game for a few hours, or read. I haven't read in a while, but those are my self cares. I do love to cook. I haven't cooked in a little bit, so that's something that I probably got that on the list for this upcoming week. I got a recipe in my head that I'm thinking about. So, but that's my self care, kind of just sitting down, kind of just collecting my thoughts outside of anything else business related or anything like that at a Chick-fil-A, and just me, sweet tea, and my thoughts and my podcast. And then I might just get on my game for a few hours during the weekend, outside of cooking or reading, and those are my self care. So that's what I typically do.
I love the cooking one. I actually did that. I tried 3 recipes, so we're gonna hold you to it. Next session, Clayton, you're gonna have to try a recipe this week and let us know how it went. I'm a big cooker, and cooking makes me happy. And when I plan out a new recipe, even though it's a little bit of work, I decompress while I cook, and it's beautiful to be able to give something to someone else because I usually cook for more than one person. So I love that you have those options. Crime podcast. Ooh, which one? Which one is it?
Um, Hold on a second. What is it called? I listened to a couple of them. The one that I'm listening to now is probably gonna. I knew it was gonna try to autoplay as soon as I got on the app. Right now, I'm listening to Crime Junkie.
Oh wow.
Um, I also listen to, where is it? I can't find it. There's a couple more I started adding. One is The Death. The Death is one of them. Um, you
I've
know,
heard of that one.
I listen to that. Scary Savannah. I just like to kind of listen to what's going on in my hometown. So there's a podcast called Scary Savannah that I listen to from time to time as well. But right now I'm listening to Crime Junkie, the Denise Plum story.
Okay. All good ones. All good ones. I have a friend who listens to crime podcasts on her way to work in the morning, so I do know one or two of the titles. I personally will watch the crime trilogy on TV. I just give me the Netflix series, and I can just veg out and watch a whole series on a good Saturday that I have time for myself. I love me a crime because I want to figure it out before. With 15 minutes into it, I want to figure it out. That's a great option. Who else have we not heard from? Aminosi, what do you do for self care?
On a more practical, everyday idea, I'd like to take naps if I can, if there's time. I just feel like that is the rest that I need, and I usually feel pretty good after. But when I do have time to actually like indulge in self care,
Mm-hmm.
I as well, love to get my nails done. I'm faithfully in that chair once a month. But beyond that, I like to read. I like to paint when I have time. Um, when I had space on my computer, I would mindlessly play Sims for hours, but I no longer have that. So, we're just watching TV or just doing something like more low key and chill.
Love me a power nap. I used to be in med school. Oh my goodness. Between classes, you could not tell me 20 minutes was not saving my life. So that I love that. I love that. I wish I could still take them now. Power naps are awesome.
There's a comment in the chat that says, I like to play video games and play family games. This is from Evan. And then Heather, Heart to Heart with Heather B, monthly aromatherapy, massage, and spa pedicures.
Yes, yes, and yes, please. I mean, to all of them, because I love family games too. So that's two extra yeses. That would be yes, 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 and yes, please. Oh, all good options. We could have a running list, you guys. I wonder what family game that person likes to play. There are so many good ones. So many good ones. Well, thank you everyone for sharing. So happy that our listeners and our community chimed in. Any final thoughts? Because we're only going to touch self-care and mindfulness. So we'd love for you guys to, our email, it's on our flyer. Send us some ideas of what you do, and maybe we can put a list together to share with the community as we go through the next month of discussions. Always great to share what you do with someone else because they might not have thought of it, and they were like, oh, you know what? A puzzle might be a good thing to do today. And they decide to do a puzzle or listen to a crime podcast. And I think with sharing, we open to door to possibilities for other individuals to expand the definition of self-care. And we know how important it is to just take a pause for ourselves. And we're hoping that everyone takes that moment to, the word I love to use is recalibrate, but just come into balance. Centering is the other a simple way of saying that, but it's so important to press the pause button and be a little bit more mindful, approach things mindfully, and also apply self-care. So team, if there are no other comments, we're going to close with our 3 community breaths. Are we good with that? All right, everyone.
Absolutely.
So just take a moment to soften one more time. Maybe invite your eyes to close. And I always like to say that we are all coming together so that we can hold space for maybe those who could not be here but really need this community and wanted to be here. So we always hold space for them. Deep breath in through the nose, filling up your cup, and let it out. Exhale. Another breath in, a little deeper this time, filling your cup up even more. Inhale, 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 inhale. Gently exhale, exhale, exhale. And third breath here, belly, ribs, chest, and hold it. And exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. And with that, thank you everyone for joining us for another Sunday Soul session. We will next weekend is a holiday weekend, so we might not be here next weekend, but we'll put the post up. And if not, we will see you the weekend after that. Be well, everyone, and thank you for joining us.